Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. True Gamer for Reals, as always, here for you, bringing you some great news today about a game that is a big buzz in the VR community. It's made by a development team called Combat Waffle Studios. This game might just be the next game that we need. This game is actually inspired by some of the most popular survival games, basically games such as Escape from Tarkov, DayZ, and Arma. So, definitely get super hyped for this. There's going to be all kinds of things that are going on, and I think this is most definitely going to be a game that VR totally needs, and it's going to be great for the multiplayer and co-op aspect of it. So without further ado, that game from Combat Waffle Studios is Ghosts of Tabor. Here it is. Check it out.
Welcome to the Tabor Marketplace.
All right, so Ghosts of Tabor is a multiplayer VR survival military shooter set in a post-apocalyptic war. Ghosts of Tabor is developed by a veteran-owned developer, Combat Waffle Studios, and they're based in Port Charlotte, Florida. This game is going to be coming out for PC VR, Oculus Quest 2, and PlayStation VR 2. This game is also going to have survival systems with health, hunger, and thirst that you'll need to keep up to stay alive. There'll be large maps that allow for multiplayer exploration, looting, and intense shootouts, and most definitely snipers. There's also going to be trading with vendors that are AI and person to person to better obtain gear, make money, and craft equipment. Now, some of the game mechanics is going to be pretty wild on here. We're going to have 1 hour raid timers for 15 to 20 players. Obviously, depending on the map size, you don't really want to lag out a map or anything like that. You can join a match up to 25% of the time into the match of it starting up. So, basically, you'll be able to join mid-match. That's really cool, especially if you're playing with friends and things like that. Co-op. Team up to 4 and spawn in proximity to each other. Of course, a game like this can not survive if you don't have co-op. The point of most of these games is playing together, playing with your friends, and being able to enjoy the environment, and also, shoot a bunch of stuff while you're all together with your friends. Competitive AI. Phoenix are present in the match, spread out in different areas. While bosses are extremely difficult to kill and have high tier loot, players can also join as Phoenix only when there is a 40% or less left of the raid timer. There's also a 25-minute cooldown after you finish your match. Phoenix will look different from Volk and Ghosts, limited to number of Phoenix in a map, and players will remove a Phoenix AI when they enter a match, basically taking over their body. That's kind of cool. So basically, you're able to play as the bad guys. You can hop in as a bad guy mid-match. Any of the bad guy AI that is floating around, the player will take over. So that's definitely pretty dope. And I'll get into the different types of players, which are quote-unquote called factions here in just a moment. We'll hop into that next. Haptics, integrated for full immersion. So if you've got the biohaptic vest and things like that, you will be able to use it. That'll be really cool for a game like this. Player stats. We have thirst, hunger, health, weight, stamina. Stats are persistent throughout sessions. However, in safe houses, your stats will go up slowly, depending on your upgrades in the safe house. So it looks like we're going to be able to upgrade a safe house, and depending on what we have going on, how fast our health and all of that regenerates, and probably some other things that deal with the game too. Healing. You can get shot in different body parts or injure certain limbs and need to heal specifically with certain items. Items can buff you like syringes. Cool, so you're going to have limb damage, kind of like Escape from Tarkov has. That is always really super cool. I'm a fan of that. I'm hoping when you get shot in a limb, like an arm, you can't use that arm to shoot with, or it, messes up your aiming a whole bunch. That'll be really cool and a nice mechanic to have. Up next, we have the story. So this is kind of going to be what the actual premise of the game is and what we got going on, why we're actually playing the game. This is in 2042, Slavic militant forces, the Volk, which we'll get into here next, stage a coup and gain control of Russian capital. Soon, Volk declared war on all of Europe and the West, believing citizens were being subjected to experimentation. All countries and governments denied any knowledge of this information. U.S. Special Forces hired by NATO were deployed to gather intel on Volk and rumored experiments. In their offense, Volk forces laid siege to the NATO stronghold of Tabor. In 2044, a rogue tactical nuke crashed into the small island on the coast of Tabor. The blast decimated most of the island, revealing the Advent Edge Resource Corps facility, which had been hidden. The mainland was also damaged with pockets of nuclear radiation mixed with other strange chemicals, promising a gruesome fate to any who enter them. With communications damaged and being trapped inside the fallout zone, the remaining NATO forces were defeated. Intense skirmishes continue as each faction suspects the other of being responsible for the blast. With limited resources, the factions scavenge the countryside for intel and equipment to support a new mission. Discover the origins of the missile, gain control of Advent Edge facility, believed to contain advanced technology, and escape from Tabor. All right, so there you have it. Basically, we have some crazy things going on with the government, some nuclear radiation, and some fallout, and everyone is suspecting each other of doing it themselves. So, with that being said, that is probably why we're going to have a bunch of warring factions, which we're about to get into right now. So, in Ghost of Tabor, there is going to be 3 main factions: the Volk, the Ghosts, and the Phoenix. So let's go ahead and dive right into what each one does and what they're all about. First up is the Ghosts. The Ghosts that remain are leftover U.S. Special Forces who had formed into groups compromising a private military organization hired by what is left of NATO to secure Tabor. This group was established and hired by NATO in 2042 after the Russian militant forces, the Volk, gained control over the Russian capital. The Ghosts are the leftover U.S. Special Forces who refused to surrender Tabor to the militant forces of Volk. The Ghosts believe the Volk is a secret branch of the Russian military whose purpose is to create a larger and more powerful Russia. Up next, we have the Volk. The Volk were birthed out of the belief that the Russian government was allowing experiments to perform on Russian citizens. After overtaking the Russian capital in 2042, Volk absorbed the special operation units still left standing in the country and began an offensive to save their people. Once full control was gained over Russia, Volk turned their attention west. Soon, Volk forces began occupying Tabor following intel suggestions. This was ground zero of the experiments. After the blast, Volk struggled to take control of Tabor due to the Ghosts and resistance of the Phoenix rebels of Tabor. Volk believe the Ghosts are trying to cover up and destroy the evidence connecting the US and Europe to the experiments performed on Russia. Last but not least here, we have the Phoenix. Phoenix, or playable NPC characters, which is kind of cool. So basically, like I said before, when you load into a game and you want to play the bad guy, you are going to be a Phoenix. If you're not playing them, they will be NPCs. The Phoenix rebels were formed from the devastation the war had brought to their home of Tabor. They are caught in a bloody conflict they have no part in. Desperate for their home back, they attack anyone who is not Phoenix as they struggle to save their homeland from nuclear blast. All right, so that's kind of cool. So those are the three factions for you. Basically, the Ghosts are basically just U.S. forces. And then you actually have the Volk, who are people who think that, or used to be U.S. forces, but are kind of fighting back against the U.S. and kind of think, I guess you can kind of call them traitors against their own country. I guess they kind of think that that the Ghosts are kind of in it with the Volk, but they're still kind of U.S. military. And then you have the Phoenix, which are pretty much not necessarily the bad guys, but kind of probably civilians that are caught in the middle with everything and have no choice but to fight everybody just to keep their homeland. So that's definitely cool. So I don't think it'll be interesting being able to play each side and what each character brings. I'm sure there's only going to be certain weapons and certain, loadouts you can use for each part or each faction, and probably only certain territories you can go to. So time will tell on that, but that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, finally we've come to the weapons. Now there is going to be all kinds of different weapons here. Some of the ones that they've announced have been on their Twitter and their Discord and things like that, but I mean, there is just a whole slew of them here for you. Anything from the 1911 all the way up to the M4. We got FAMASs, MP5s, rocket launchers, shotguns, the whole nine. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of stuff here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of create a little bit of a slideshow here for you that kind of shows a little bit of video and just a few pictures of some of the things they got going on as far as what some of the weapons are. And of course, not all of them are going to be listed as the game progresses. It's just going to keep adding more and more and more. So stay tuned with that. But here is just some of the models and some videos of what we got going on with the weaponry. It also appears that there's going to be all kinds of different weapon customization. As you saw from a few slides back, you're going to be able to change, pretty much anything Call of Duty style on the weapon, your scopes, your lasers, your foregrips, things of that nature, silencers. Uh, so I'm going to kind of go into that just a tiny bit here. Here's just a few images and some videos. There's actually going to be like body armor and stuff, as well as night vision goggles. So here's a little bit on that. All right. That was pretty cool with all the attachments and all the weapons. It should be pretty cool as far as customization goes. Like I said, it's all going to be kind of like how Onward or like Call of Duty would be with swapping out your attachments on your weapons. So no big deal there. Nothing we haven't seen before. It'll just be cool in VR. But next we have a little bit of information, I guess, on survival and basically your player base. So first here with your player base, it's kind of going to be just a place where you can hang out, store things, regenerate your health. There will be things that you could put into your base, kind of like a quote unquote trophy type system. That certain things in your base, you will be able to gain your health faster, recover quickly compared to normal, just having nothing in there. So it sounds like we're going to be able to decorate our player base and obviously do some other things with that. Not a whole lot of information on that right now, but we will be able to customize it in some way, shape, or form, and probably be able to show it off since it is a co-op system. So, with that being said, as far as some of the mechanics for survival, of course, you are going to have food, water, and shelter um, that you're going to have to take care of. The shelter being your player base, you will obviously be able to sleep there and regain your health and things of that nature. So you're able to continue on your journey and not have low health and damage and all that good stuff constantly. A big thing to most survival games is going to be water. You will get dehydrated as you're running around. Your stamina will get low, so you will need to drink water in order to not pass out. Along with that, it once again is going to be food. You will have to eat, maintain your health, and you will also need it to make sure you don't pass out. So that's kind of just like a basic survival, any survival game, should I say. You're going to have food, water, and shelter that you're going to need to take care of yourself in. So nothing really new there. If you've played a survival game before, you know those mechanics make the game that much harder. So you will definitely have to look out for all of that good stuff. So make sure you keep your water and a canteen on you and plenty of canned goods to keep you going on your journey. All right. So, as far as maps and locations, Ghost of Tabor has a really cool thing going on with it. It is saying that all of their maps in the game are based off of real places throughout the Czech Republic and Europe. So, if you are from those countries or provinces, you might actually recognize some of the scenery. I think this is a really great idea because what it can do for you is make it easy to go out and scout locations and kind of turn them into a video game. If you have live images and live places that you're looking at and want to see, it makes it real simple and easy just kind of port it over to a game and kind of build off of that. Also, it kind of the terrain and all of that over there on that side of the world looks great. It's beautiful and it's also rugged, which I think puts a really good environment and atmosphere for this game. So I think it's a great choice. So here's a little bit of some screenshots that we see of some terrain, some buildings, some complexes, and forestry that's out there. And at the end, we actually have two trailers for some maps that are going to be for a silo and a subway. So definitely check those out real quick. Man, oh man, some of those maps look pretty damn cool if you ask me. I can't wait to play them. That is for sure. The last little bit I want to get into here is the AMA, the Ask Me Everything, that they held on August 5th of 2022. And there's quite a bit of useful information in there. Um, really, some of the mechanics they got going on is you're going to be able to drag your teammates. So when they're down, you're going to be able to pull them aside and heal them and things like that. Um, Another thing that's similar on another game is they have a backpack system that they say is very similar to Into the Radius and Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. So you're going to be able to pull a backpack off of your back and be able to store items and things like that. So I think in a game like this, that is definitely something that you're going to need. One of the big things that people have been asking for is an anti-cheat. Yes, they are going to be trying to put in some type of anti-cheat system. We all know Escape from Tarkov had some serious issues with that, so they are definitely going to be trying to figure out an anti-cheat system to help with that as best as possible, and hopefully that'll keep the game under control. They talk a little bit about DLC and replayability. They definitely plan on adding DLC to it so we can keep playing that game, keep having things fresh, and just being able to keep coming back and not get bored with the game. So I think that is definitely a key to something like this. It's great that we're going to be able to play with our friends and all of that good stuff, but we need different things to play. A lot of us out there play these games religiously and burn through the whole entire game and everything that's in it within a month or two. So we definitely have to make sure there's new content to keep us fresh and interested in the game. One of the big things that I did like that they were talking about is for streamers and content creators like myself, they plan on adding live into the game somehow. No, none of you know what live is. Look it up on Steam. It's LIV. Basically, it's an integration system that allows you to record in the real world and kind of integrate it into the game. One of the biggest and coolest things that they have is going to be the ability to basically show the background environment and then basically be able to show your real human self on the video on top of that environment. There's tons of games that do it. Veil right now, capital VAIL. If you've not heard of that game, I also have a few videos about that. I will definitely leave a link right here in the window as I'm talking to it. But that has a great live integration system. And if they can do anything like that for this, it'll be absolutely amazing. Well, folks, that's pretty much all I have for you on Ghosts of Tabor. Definitely make sure you wishlist it. I think this game is going to be absolutely amazing. It's definitely one you don't want to miss out on. So I will leave a link in the description to everything as far as their Discord, their websites, the Steam wish list, all of that stuff. And as always, if you liked what you heard, you like what you saw, you like all the information I'm bringing to you, please, please, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. About 90% of you are watching and not subscribing. I don't know why. Just hit the sub button. It's not hard to do. It's real simple, and it helps support me big time. So, once again, thank you all for watching. We will see y'all in the next one. Have a great night.